Today we're going to be doing one of my favorite things on the channel, which is guessing league characters based on the music and a little bit of the login screen alone, watching some of the champion stuff, reading the lore, and then swinging back and listening to the music again to hear what we can hear from the music once we understand the context. Today we're going to be listening to Sylas the Unshackled. I think in a lot of ways, like Atrox, actually, Sylas the Unshackled, he's been bound, he's been captured, and now he gets to be free. And when he becomes free, he removes any of the pre-existing things that kept him locked away. So his power comes full circle, and you feel that passion in his sound. You know what I mean? In some ways, that cello and that violin, I like it because it gives us that real feeling of I am free, baby. Sylas being free means that his power reaches its full potential, and one should be concerned about that. There's a lot of pain in that. Those aren't the notes. But the point is that there's a lot of leaps in that piano part. It doesn't follow like tonal structure. There's like an augmented note there, and then we resolved. I don't have a piano in front of me, but we have leaps in the piano. That indicates a desire for freedom. And I think it reflects this feeling of pain. It reflects this feeling of loss, of reaching for something that is out of reach, as if like Sylas had a person that Sylas loved, but then that person is out of reach because they were shackled, maybe unjustly. I'm not entirely sure. I get the sense that things that Sylas will do or has to do are things that Sylas wouldn't have wanted to do if not backed into a corner. That music to me indicates like, you gave me no choice. What am I gonna do? You put me in this position and now you have to pay the consequences of it. There's a bit of revenge in the same way that Pike is revengeful, but not at all in the same sort of like evil or anger or rage. There's a lot of pain in this music. So sliding up and then we go down. It's like, how could you do this to me? Oh, now you're gonna face my wrath. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, so here we hear that determination. In the strings, that's that forward momentum into, well, I'm gonna go and do what has to be done because obviously I don't have a choice. Oh, sorry, and you feel the agony in the piano, bing, and then that's a crunchy chord, augmented, diminished, bing. That's giving like, You hear that? The shackles break. Was he wrongly shackled? Was he wrongly imprisoned? There's a lot of pain in that sound and a lot of anger and a lot of rage. The use of the cello is really brilliant because the cello is the string instrument that is closest to the human voice, as I recall. It has a real soulful human quality to it because it's in the range of my voice. And so, and all those little, those are all like black keys on the piano, and all of those are, sort of out of key. And so they cause this real feeling of unrest. And so there's a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of suffering within those notes, which is why it causes that sensation of discomfort and frustration and sadness. I'm really curious to watch this trailer for Sylas the Unshackled.
Honor. Justice. Tradition. All shackles for the ignorant.
Isn't that cool, by the way that the enunciation, all shackles for the ignorant. There's a lot of crispness there. Usually when we do that as voice actors, we're connecting to upper class or some sort of like dignity type.
After 15 years in the dark, I was illuminated. I see a world without lords or peasants, where every Demacian is a king, where those who keep us in chains have their power ripped from their grasp.
He wants to create a new world order.
Rise up, brothers and sisters. Whatever they bring, we'll match it. Crush the oppressors. Claim your birthright. And burn their kingdom to the ground. All we need to start the fire is a single spark.
Okay. Yeah, you hear that. That's interesting. Not that far off. Let's check out the lore really quick. As a mage born to a poor Demacian family, Sylas of Dregborn was perhaps doomed from the start. Despite their low social standing, his parents were firm believers in their country's ideals, so when they discovered their son was afflicted with magical abilities, they convinced him to turn himself into the kingdom's mage seekers. Noting the boy's curious ability to sense magic, they used Sylas to identify other mages living among the citizenry. For the first time in his life, he felt he had a future, a life in service to his country, and he performed these duties faithfully. He was proud but lonely, forbidden from associating with anyone but his handlers. Through his work, Sylas began noticing that magic was far more prevalent than Demacian cared to admit. He could sense glimmers of hidden powers even among the wealthy and prominent, some of whom were the most outspoken decreers of mages. But while the poor were punished for their afflictions, the elite seemed above the law. And this hypocrisy planted the first seeds of doubt in Sylas's mind. Those doubts finally bloomed in one deadly fateful event when Sylas and his handlers encountered a mage living and hiding in the countryside. After discovering it was only a young girl, Sylas took pity on her. When he tried to shield the child from the Mage Seekers, he accidentally brushed against their skin. The girl's magic rushed through Sylas's body, but rather than killing him, it shot forth from his hands in raw, uncontrolled bursts. It was a talent he did not know he possessed, and it resulted in the deaths of 3 people, including his Mage Seeker mentor. Knowing he would be called a murderer, Sylas went on the run and quickly gained notoriety as one of the most dangerous mages in Demacia. When the Mage Seekers found him, they showed him no mercy. Though he was still just a youth, Sylas was sentenced to life imprisonment. He languished in the darkest depths of the Mage Seeker compound, forced to wear heavy shackles of magic-dampening petricide. Robbed of his arcane sight, his heart turned as hard as the stone that bound him, and he dreamed of vengeance on all who had put him there. After 15 wretched years, a young volunteer from the Illuminators named Luxana began to visit him. Even with his shackles, Sylas recognized her as a singularly powerful mage, and over time the two forged an unusual and secretive bond. In exchange for Sylas's knowledge of the control of magic, Lux educated him about the world outside his cell and brought him whatever books he desired. Eventually, through careful manipulation, he convinced the girl to smuggle a forbidden tome into his cell, the original writings of the great sculptor Durand, detailing his work with petricide. The work revealed the secrets of the stone to Sylas. It was the foundation of Demacia's defenses against harmful sorcery, but he came to see that it did not suppress magic, but absorbed it. And if the power was held within the petricide, Sylas wondered, could he release it? All he needed was a source of magic. A source like Lux. But she never visited Sylas again. Her family, the immensely powerful Crown Guards, had learned of their contact and was furious that Lux had broken the law to help this vile criminal. Without explanation, it was arranged for Sylas to be executed. On the scaffold, Lux pleaded for her friend's life, but her cries fell on deaf ears. As the headsman pushed past her to raise his sword, Sylas managed to touch Lux. As he had predicted, her power surged into the petricide shackles, ready for him to unleash, and with the stolen magic, Sylas blasted his way free, sparing only the terrified young Crown Guard. He left the Mage Seeker compound not as an outcast, but as a new defiant symbol of the broken and persecuted in Demacia. While traveling the kingdom in secret, he amassed a following of exiled mages. However, perhaps he always knew that even their combined power would not be enough to succeed in toppling the throne, which is why, with a band of his closest followers and several hardy oxen, Sylas eventually journeyed over to the northern mountains to the frozen tundra of the Freljord. There he seeks new allies and the great elemental magic of ancient legend, so that he might return to Demacia and demolish the oppressive system that has made him and his fellow mages suffer for so long. You really hear this in the music too, check it out. You hear the rage in Sylas, the betrayal of the system with the Mage Seekers. You hear the frustration in him that he's become caged up in this cage like a wild animal, and there's that melancholic rage that exists in here. And the determination to be free, to remove those shackles. And a bit of the pain of being labeled as a murderer when he actually wanted to do something really positive with his life. You can hear this too with the instruments, with the orchestration, with the string instruments specifically. Yeah. Right here. So much anger and sadness. It's really fun to listen to that again after knowing a bit of the context. As always, if you like this sort of stuff, there's a ton more videos on the League playlist, which you can find here. Feel free to like, subscribe. There's links in the About section if you want to support the channel. And as always, thanks a ton. And hey, I really appreciate it. See you in the next video.